Hello, this is Darren Pulsifer, Chief Solution Architect of Public Sector at Intel, and welcome to Embracing Digital Transformation, where we investigate effective change leveraging people, process, and technology. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the day in the life of a cloud solution architect with special guest, Kiran Agrahara. Welcome, Kieran, to the show. Kieran is a cloud solution architect at Intel. Amazing, we have some. He's going to go over what he does every day. Right, Kieran?
Yep. Thanks, Darren. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Hey, the cloud solution architect at Intel team was formed almost, 2 years ago now?
Yeah, two years ago. Yep. I mean, probably less than 2 years, I guess. Yep.
Yeah, I guess a year and a half is all, right? Because it happened post-COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty interesting. And now we have a very large cloud solution architecture team. And they're not focused on inside Intel. They're focused on Intel's customers. So tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
Well, let me go back to the team itself, right? When we started probably less than 2 years ago, the team was like 3 people, right? And now 2 years fast forward, the team is, we are about 21 folks on the team, right? So that should tell the importance of CSAs, Cloud Solutions Architect, and what we do, because we are adding more and more people on the team, right? As you mentioned, we are focused more on the outside, right? Mostly on cloud, Intel's relevance in cloud, whether it's GCP, Google, or AWS, or Azure, right? So that's what we do.
So you're helping both Azure, AWS, Google, Oracle, whoever. You're helping them provide solutions, but you're also talking to end users, right? People that are using the cloud and helping them out too, correct?
Right, end users of cloud, right? With folks who shift their platforms from on-prem to any of those cloud providers. You're right.
Okay, this sounds a little counterintuitive, but why in the world would Intel be doing that? I mean, don't we want our end users to just buy chips from us? I mean, come on.
Well, Darren, I don't know if you're following where the industry is shifting in the last decade.
What? The industry's moving to cloud?
Exactly right. I mean, so this is exactly what some of the customers also like. Why should I talk to Intel, right? I made my decision to start my to migrate my workloads to cloud for obvious reasons. It's the scalability, flexibility, and there's a lot, depending on the customer, they have their own reasons, right? And now, if you look at the shift in spending, the on-prem infrastructure spend is going down while there is an uptick in the cloud spending, right? Whether it's, you name it, right? Pick the top 3 CSPs, Google, Amazon, AWS, or Azure. And now, why do they want to talk to Intel? Now, a lot of people don't know cloud is not something that you put the data somewhere in a cloud and forget about it. You still need an infrastructure to run on it. It is just that it's not going to be in your data center. And guess what? Majority of them are still Intel powered. Like, I mean, we are everywhere. All the instances which run in majority of the cloud providers are powered by Intel. So Intel is very much relevant, and yes, you need to talk to us.
Well, they need to talk to us because certain workloads run better on certain classes of machines than others, right?
Correct. So let me explain that with an example. Right now, let us say there is a classic customer, healthcare customer who want to migrate off from on-prem to cloud, and now they're all running on-premises, HP servers. It can be anybody, right? Intel CPUs, a bunch of storage arrays. And now, how do they figure out what are the optimized instances which they could, run their applications or migrate to the cloud? And now that is where Intel CSS comes to play. Right now, Intel CSS knows there are certain Intel underlying CPU features which will be kind of enabled when they go on public cloud. And that is the reason why the Intel CSAs are very much relevant in the cloud space, right? I mean, if you look at the CSA talent, it's not only Intel awareness, and we also bring to the table how best can an end user use Intel-based instances on any of those cloud providers.
So you guys can really help with both migration and also optimization and understanding kind of the whole cloud architecture that's there, because you are right. It's someone else's infrastructure, but it still needs to be architected. It's not like I just throw it there and everything works great, right?
Right. I mean, you're right. I mean, the short answer is yes, and they can be anywhere in the cloud journey, right? They can be a greenfield, people who might be thinking about going to cloud, or somebody who's already in the cloud or spending a whole lot of money and they figure they don't know how to optimize it. Or there are people who might have optimized, end users who may optimize their cloud infrastructure spend, but they really don't know if the applications which are running on the instances are optimized, right? So we pretty much engage customers, prospects in every stage of their cloud journey, right? It's kind of a life cycle of their cloud journey.
Great. All right. So tell me what your typical day is like.
Well, typical day would be typical day. So we are cloud solutions architect, right? So our typical day starts off with the typical back office stuff, right? You got to the emails and whatever it is, emails, internal meetings, team meetings, staff meetings, and then also a significant amount of the time is spent in talking to end user customers. And now when I say end user customers, they can be Intel customers or using Intel CPUs on-prem today, and now they're looking at going to the cloud, or they're already in cloud, right? So that is one aspect of our customer meetings / prospect meetings on a daily basis. And then we have partners, and now we have partners or even system integrators who are interested on how to kind of translate Intel goodness or Intel stickiness, like some of the features like AVX 512, or it can be DL boost, it can be total memory encryption. Like these are some of the things that that needs to be translated, right? So we also spend time talking to partners and customers about these features as well. And then we also, the cloud solutions architect, they're not only in the pre-sales role. We also design POCs. We also, write use cases and, work with our benchmarking team to run benchmark based on customers' workloads. And also we spend time authoring or co-authoring playbooks, right? And now, if you look at VMware, right? Well, that's a fantastic use case. It's everywhere in the cloud. And we also author playbooks so that we could train our internal account managers. We can train also our partner salespeople, right? So that's like a typical day for us. And other than that, there's also self-learning of we need to also be on the top of the technology. Every day in and out, the cloud service providers are making like announcement of new services, and we need to make sure that we need to make sure that whenever they announce a new service, we need to figure out why is Intel relevant in that new service, right? And how is that going to help the customer?
There's a lot there that you guys provide them, because you have to understand all the new services in the cloud service providers, the new technology supporting those services underneath the covers. And you also have to understand the users' workloads and use models as well. Do you guys spend a lot of time educating end users on how to do this stuff themselves? Are you teaching them, or do you just come in and just take over? What approach do you think works best?
We don't literally go with a how do I say, with a notion or an attitude of taking over, right? We tend to be an extended, we work, first of all, we work on a how do I say, we work hard to become the trusted advisor, right? And now when you say trusted advisor, we would like to become their extension of their team, right? When they say extension of their team, whether it's a partner community or an end user customer, so we want to be one of them, which means it's a collaborative effort, right? We don't take over anything. Most of the times the customers will know which cloud to go to, but they really don't know how to start off. For example, let us say a greenfield customer. They have a CIO initiative. Now the CIO says, we need to get a cloud. And now what is the approach? What are the tools available? So this is a day zero, day one, day two. Now, day zero, they have to look at tools which will assist them in analyzing their current workload and then correlating them to what instances are available in the public cloud, and then also cost analysis. So we kind of educate them, we teach them, we show them how to do it. Intel has a portfolio of tools for every stage in their cloud journey. So most of our times are spent in collaboration with the end user, educating them, kind of hand-holding them in the beginning. And then once they know, it's kind of, crawl before you run, small baby steps. And then once they're good to go, we move on to the next stage, or we move on to another customer, right? But at the end of the day, by the time we finish one of those projects, 99% of the time, we end up becoming an extension part of that particular customer team. And then the cycle continues. They reach out to us for any new initiative, any new projects, that they would like to work, that they would like to work with Intel.
So it's really interesting because all the things you're talking about require some unique skills. One is communication. I heard you guys write proposals, you write playbooks, reference architectures. So one is written communication, also verbal communication.
Right.
You spend a lot of time training end users on, hey, this is what cloud is. And so there's teaching, but you also, there's a lot of technical stuff you have to understand, right?
Yes, you're right. So it's not like everybody can do it all, right? If you look at how the team is, the team is made up of 22 people. And now if you look at for a lack of a better word, the demographics of the team, a lot of us have come from different backgrounds. When I say different backgrounds, one, it might be a different work culture. It might be a different technical skills, right? Ability to sell. Like, for example, if I consider myself, my background is pre-sales technology, but I've been selling for the last 15 years. And I've also worked at multiple different startups. And that gives me an unique experience to kind of, bring to the table a mix of selling skills and a technical skills. And also, what does it take to look at whether it's a business problem and how do we solve the business problem with technology, or if it is a technology problem, how is that going to benefit the business, right? So that is one of the skills. And now if you look at the team, there are people from, we have folks from VMware, we have folks from, McKesson, we have folks from Accenture. So it's a pretty diverse team. And if I need anybody, let us say a databases, I can speak to databases. And now if you want to go deeper into databases, right? Why Snowflake versus Redshift? I have a peer on the team who is an expert. He is the subject matter experts on the databases. So we bring him in. And similarly, we have folks from AWS itself. And if somebody wants to talk about AWS services, who want to go much deeper in, and now we bring one of our peer who came from AWS. So what does this provide the customer with? And now it's kind of, people always say like a single throat to choke. I don't really like to use that term, right? It's pretty negative.
That's what they say.
Right, but I would like to say it's a single hand to shake, right? So now
I like that better.
You have, right. So that's what I would like to say. Now an end user does not have to go to, let us say he wants to talk about AWS. He doesn't have to look for an AWS resource, or now he wants to understand how is an instance A different from an instance B on GCP. he does not have to go to GCP as well, right? He can come to us. We are kind of a single point of contact, right? It's like a deep technical source, and we can help them with the initial research on which cloud they want to go. And then once they decide, we can just focus, right? We could shine the spotlight on a specific technology they choose to go with.
So here's a question that I think people are probably asking. Don't the cloud service providers already provide cloud solution architects? And why wouldn't I just use them? Why would I even talk to Intel about this stuff?
Well, we are agnostic, right? Let's start with that term, right? I know agnostic is a widely used and a most used term when it comes to partnering and consultative selling. The reason why I say we are really agnostic is our chips, our CPUs are pretty much running in every cloud service provider, and at the same time, it really doesn't matter to us which cloud service provider the customer picks. And now, let us say if the customer has access to tons of resources, I'll pick on a particular CSP, right? AWS. And now, a lot of the CSP CSAs really don't understand the underlying Intel features, which is only available in a certain instance type, right? And now, why would you want to choose an instance powered by Ice Lake versus an instance powered by a Cascade Lake, which is a previous version of instances? And now they really don't know that once they move from a previous version to a newer version of instance powered by Ice Lake, there will be significant, probably cost savings, or there is an uptick in performance on their applications, right? And some of the underlying features, the CSP, CSAs are not aware of it. And Intel can kind of map those features to their application and what the application will benefit from those underlying features.
So if I'm having performance problems in my cloud, it would be really good to call Intel to say, hey, could you help me figure this out, right? Because you guys know the silicon features in the different instances and whether the application could take advantage of those or not.
Right. And we have a lot of tools. We collect telemetry, whether it's cloud instance or bare metal cloud instance. And the CSP CSs do not have access to those tools, right? They can only do performance or troubleshooting at the hypervisor level on their EC2 instances. For example, whether it's a Zen hypervisor or a ESX or a KVM, but they cannot really go down to the chip level, right? And Intel has the tools and the monitoring tools and troubleshooting tools and the telemetry to collect that and then literally, resolve the issue.
How do people get in touch with, what's the best way to get involved with an Intel cloud solution architect? How do they find you guys?
It's pretty simple, right? Intel has an army of salespeople, right? Whether it's financials or manufacturing or insurance, you name it, right? So Intel has been in business for a long time, especially in the data center. They're everywhere. And now the same AEs have their customer relationship. And then we also have a significant partner community, right? Who have been selling Intel chips. I mean, he might be an HP reseller, but at the end of the day, there is an Intel chip in the HP, right? Same thing, some of them might be a Dell reseller, right? So now, how do they get in touch with us? So these are our frontline folks who will talk to the customers, and then they ask the customer the right question. A typical example would be if an AE recognizes that these guys spending is decreasing on the on-prem, and now he's going to look at the socket count and go, oh, what's going on here? And now he's going to ask the right question, is like, where is the spending going to? And then he finds that they are slowly migrating to cloud. And that is when he goes, hey, you know what? At Intel, we have this fantastic team, cloud solutions architect, no matter what stage or in the cloud journey, why don't you talk to some of these guys, who might be able to help with a lot of things you might be, the customer might be performing.
So the best way to get a hold of you guys is through the account execs on those accounts, right? Because they'll
Yes.
pull you guys in to help out.
Yep, they'll pull us in, and then we also do, like I said, right? CSAs are very technically, they're technical resources, but at the end of the day, we are in the sales and the marketing group, which means we should be selling too. We will also be talking to folks around us to see if there's any other opportunities, like contacts from the past employment.
So you're actively searching for opportunities as well.
As well, yes, we will be actively searching.
Wait, you said something interesting. I want to get to just quickly. You're selling. What are you selling? Are you selling your services? Do people have to pay for you guys to come in and help?
No, we are not. We are not an extra. No, we are not billable. We are. When I say selling, right, we are selling the CSA expertise, right? And with expertise, there's also, for example, let us say an end user wants to migrate off to cloud, and now he wants to run a tool, and now that tool might cost X dollars. Okay. But Intel has programs where we can fund that initiative for 6 months or even more, depending on the length of the project. And now the customer really does not have to spend on a tool. And also there will be a learning curve for the end user, right? So our CSA team will help them shrink that assessment journey or that kickstarting to cloud in a greenfield environment, right? Which means we bring them the tools, we bring them the people expertise, and we bring them even the resources required, not just from a human resource standpoint, from a monetary standpoint as well.
Gotcha. So you don't monetize your time and effort. That monetization comes when a workload is fully running in the cloud now, or right. The migration has happened, when they're consuming resources. Okay, right. So we don't really, we're influence sales, right? We're not really.
We are strongly
taking POs. We don't even know how to take POs, right? For the CSA.
Exactly. We are just influencers there. It's mostly selling by consultation and influencing them, right? We don't even get into that recommending role as well, because we are really like neutral from that standpoint.
Right. Like you said before, it doesn't really matter which cloud they choose. We just want to make sure they're optimizing whatever cloud they are using, that they're optimizing their workload so they get the best bang for the buck, right?
Right.
That they're meeting their SLAs, that they're highly secure and reliable. So
right. And also, like you said, if somebody talks to let us say a CSP, a specific CSP, and now the cloud solution architect working for the specific CSP, he has his own vested interest. Because I say this because I work for a lot of startups, and at the end of the day, we need to somehow sell the product and figure out a way to make it work, right? We don't have to go through that, right? So that is why it is. I always recommend the end users to talk to an Intel CSA before they go talk to a specific CSA they're interested in.
Well, because we're agnostic. Right?
Right, we are agnostic, and we're like Switzerland, neutral.
Right.
We don't sway one way or the other.
All right, Kieran, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I know you're going to come on some more, and we're also going to have, look for it coming up soon. We're going to have a Meet the Intel CSA Day on the podcast. That should be a crazy day when the whole bunch of the CSAs are coming on, and look forward to more conversations with Kieran. Thank you, Kieran.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks for this opportunity to reach out to Intel customers outside of Intel. And I would like to, I look forward to participate in more sessions.
Thank you for listening to Embracing Digital Transformation today. If you enjoyed our podcast, give it 5 stars on your favorite podcasting site or YouTube channel. You can find out more information about Embracing Digital Transformation at embracingdigital.org. Until next time, go out and do something wonderful.